moon has craters on it, but we never see the moon get struck by anything. Where did these craters come from on the moon? Even Mercury has craters on it. Where did these craters come from? Mars has a canyon much larger than Grand Canyon. 4 of the planets today still have rings around them, and the rings around these planets are made of rock and ice. Very interesting. Now, Walt Brown thinks some of the craters on the moon were formed when the fountains of the deep broke open and rocks went flying up out of Earth's gravitational pull, drifted around for a while and clobbered into the moon. He thinks the comets came from Earth, and water on Mars came from Earth when the fountains of the deep broke open. Here's an article about a scientist who discovered chunks of ice as big as this auditorium are hitting the Earth all the time. They dissolve in space, but it rains down as water. There's water everywhere in space. Scientific and Technology article here. The Bible says all the fountains of the deep were broken up in one day. If you smoothed out the Earth, the oceans right now would be 12,000 feet deep. Oceans average 12,000 feet deep. But if you smoothed out the Earth, they would average 8,000 feet deep everywhere. There's plenty of water on the Earth to cover the planet. When the climbers got to the top Mount Everest, 1953, the year I was born, they got up here on Mount Everest. They began to find something interesting. Petrified clams on top Mount Everest. In Peru, a couple years ago, they found giant oysters up to 11 feet across, 2 miles above sea level. That's a big oyster. You should see the pearl. And these clams are interesting. I've got some on the table down here. They're petrified clams in the closed position. Now think about it for a minute. When a clam dies, it opens. The muscle inside relaxes, the ligaments on the outside pull the shell open almost instantly. When a clam dies, it opens up. How would you get bazillions of petrified clams in the closed position on top of mountains all over the world? The best explanation for this is they were buried alive. Sometimes huge beds of these are found. A guy in Opp, Alabama said, "Brother Hovind, you want some petrified clams for a museum?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "They're 4 feet thick in my backyard." When he rototills his garden, he brings up thousands of petrified clams, closed petrified clams. Even fragile items like eggs are found fossilized. I believe the sediments would settle out of this flood. Fine sediments would preserve things in incredible detail. Here's a fossilized jellyfish. We have an arm to an octopus, fossilized octopus arm in our museum. Soft tissue simply doesn't fossilize. Under very special conditions are required. The Bible says the fountains of the deep broke open. So I think the earth got struck by a meteor. The water underneath went shooting to the surface, and the earth was covered with water. See, the earth's